Ever wonder if your favorite historical stories are actually true? Every country has its origin story, a collection of grand tales that define its character. For the United States, these tales are often about rugged individualism and unbreakable honesty. But history is rarely that simple. Many of the facts we all learned are actually folklore stories made up long after the events to inspire patriotism. So, let's peel back the curtain on some of America's greatest historical myths. First up, the boy who could not lie. George Washington and the cherry tree. The image of a 6-year-old Washington confessing to his father, "I cannot tell a lie," is the ultimate symbol of American integrity. But the truth is, this never happened. A writer named Mason Locke Weems completely invented the story in his biography of Washington. Published after Washington's death, he wanted to create a moral lesson for kids, and in doing so, he turned a distant, aristocratic general into a relatable, virtuous hero for everyone. Next, Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. Thanks to a famous poem, we picture Paul Revere riding alone, shouting, "The British are coming," to save the revolution. The reality is much more interesting. Revere was part of a whole intelligence network. He didn't ride alone. He was joined by William Dawes and Samuel Prescott, and he never even made it to Concord. He was captured by a British patrol. It was actually Prescott who completed the final leg of the journey. Oh, and they wouldn't have yelled, "The British are coming." Since most colonists still considered themselves British, they whispered, "The regulars are coming out." The poem was written decades later to inspire Northern courage right before the Civil War, simplifying the story for a bigger impact. How about the first Thanksgiving? We imagine pilgrims and Wampanoag Indians sitting down for a peaceful, harmonious feast. The reality, it wasn't even called Thanksgiving by the pilgrims. For them, that was a day of solemn prayer, not feasting. It was a harvest festival, and the peace was really a shaky political alliance for survival. Just one generation later, the descendants of those same groups were fighting one of the bloodiest wars in American history. The Thanksgiving holiday we know today was actually popularized in the 19th century to promote national unity during a time of crisis. Then there's the Wild West. We picture a lawless land of daily gunfights at high noon. But in reality, many famous frontier towns like Dodge City and Tombstone had stricter gun control laws than a lot of cities do today. Visitors often had to check their firearms with the sheriff when they entered town. Statistically, these wild towns were often safer than big eastern cities at the time. The whole gunfighter myth was cooked up by Hollywood and dime novels to sell a romanticized, action-packed version of what was mostly a life of hard work and boredom. And let's not forget Benjamin Franklin's famous kite experiment. The classic image is Franklin standing in a huge storm, getting struck by lightning, and miraculously surviving to discover electricity. Petrutis. Franklin didn't discover electricity was already a known thing. He wanted to prove that lightning was electricity, and if he'd actually been struck by lightning, he would have been killed instantly. His real experiment involved carefully drawing an electrical charge from the humid air with his kite, long before a lightning bolt formed. He noticed the fibers on his kite strings stand on end, proving his theory. The dramatic lightning bolt version just makes for a much better story. Finally, when we think of the American cowboy, we usually picture a white guy like John Wayne. But the reality is that the West was incredibly diverse. Historians estimate that at least 1 in 4 cowboys was black. A huge number of others were Mexican who basically taught the white cowboys everything from their clothing and tools, like the lasso, to even the word boot, which is just a mispronunciation of vaquero. Hollywood later created the myth of the all-white cowboy, erasing the true multicultural history of the frontier. So why do we hold on to these myths? It's not because we're bad at history. It's because these stories served a purpose. They were the glue that helped hold a young, diverse nation together. The cherry tree taught morality. Paul Revere taught courage. And Thanksgiving taught unity. By learning the real stories, we don't lose our heroes. We just find the real, complex humans behind the legends. And honestly, that's way more fascinating. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the truth, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you next time.